AS Applied Maths Statistics, Chapter 5.4, Independent Events. So two events are said to be independent if the probability of either occurring is unaffected by the knowledge that the other has occurred. So we have this result at the top here. So the probability of A and B, remember the intersection represents and, so the probability of A and B is equal to the product of the two probabilities. So again, to be able to use this result where we're doing the multiplication, we need to be told in the question that we have independent events. So here the words independent come up, and therefore we can work out what the probability of A and B is. If you were doing a Venn diagram for this question, so if this question was bigger, I would be able to work out the intersection using this information. So if you were to draw your Venn diagram, you would know that that section there is 1/15. And then you can build up your diagram from that point. The other type of question that we get on this is being asked to show or being asked whether we have two events which are statistically independent. So if we just do this first part, find the probability that a student chosen at random watches B or C or both. We have the Venn diagram drawn for us, which makes it a little bit easier. So if I am doing B, which is that one, or C, or both, it is all of those crosses that I need to use. So for part A, the probability that we're watching B or C, and actually B or C or both is exactly what we are defining as B or C. Remember, notation wise it would be union, so that's what that stands for, B or C. So then what we are looking for here is 4, 5, 10 and 7. We need to know the total number to be able to do a probability. So adding each of these up, we are going to get a total of 30. So I know that this is out of 30. So when I add all of those together, I get 26 out of 30, which is 13/15. So looking at part B, determine whether watching A and watching B are statistically independent. So when you are asked a question like this, you need to use the fact, so calculate it using the Venn diagram. You then need to test it, and then you need to write a conclusion. So we are looking for a conclusion in order to be able to answer this question. So let's start with fact. So by fact, what I mean is you've been given the information in the question, and I want to know, because independence comes from this formula up here, that's the only formula I've got for independent events, so I need to work out what probability of A and B looks like. So the fact is that probability of A and B, so if we're looking at the Venn diagram, so A is the 3 and 4, B is the 4, 5, 10, so A and B is equal to 4/30. Fact, just from the question. So I'm not doing anything other than calculating out what A and B is. And to recognise that that's what you need to do in terms of doing the question, you would need to recognise that A and B is the key to having independence. So we're then going to test, and the way that we test it is by using the formula. So we know that the probability of A and B, if they are independent, is equal to the probability of A times the probability of B. So using the information in the Venn diagram, we know that the probability of A is 7/30. That's coming from the 3 and the 4. And then for B, I've got the 10, the 5 and the 4. So that is 19/30. And the test is to multiply those two things and see what your answer is. So when you multiply those together, we get 133/900. If they are statistically independent, then those two results will match. So the fact, so the thing that's coming out of the question, the thing that's coming out of the values that you've been given would be equal to the formula, because that would mean that they're independent. So multiplying them together has to work, which it hasn't here. So my conclusion, which I'm going to just squeeze in here, I would say, well, 2 out of 15 most certainly isn't equal to 133 out of 900. Therefore, events A and B are not statistically independent. I'm just going to put independent because I can't fit the word statistically in. But you would get your full marks for that. Just, you've got to get your not in there, and you need to give your reason. So to get the marks, they'll be looking for a comparison between the two things, so the fact and the test, and then that leads us on to that conclusion.